gotten the band back together again, haven't we? Folks, I'm honored to be here with each and every one of you. You are my distinguished colleagues, and we have folks from the VA, from the state government entities within Arizona, and also from the community, from a broad variety of different entities, and we have some of our community members joining us in the back as well. You know, the wonderful truth is that we could have easily had 1,000 individuals here with us today, right? Yeah, that's an easy one for Arizona because of all the coordination and collaboration that we have. Ms. Pence, these are representatives from all across Arizona, and each one of them are doing really, truly far more than just their part, right? They are doing the things that make it so that when service members and veterans are on the high seas, are out on the flight line, are in the mud, like myself as a United States Marine, Semper Fi. You've got dreams, you've got hopes for your future. You have hopes for your family or the family that you want to have, and the jobs and the careers and all the other things where the places you want to live, and all the other things that come along with that. You spend an inordinate amount of time during the boredom of service thinking about what you would like to have. And each one of these folks in this room, sitting at the table and sitting in the audience, are the folks that are making those dreams come true. So please join me, everyone, in welcoming really a true champion of service members, veterans, and their families. I got to listen to Ms. Pence and the governor yesterday talk about spousal employment and careers. Some really great progress happening in Arizona with that, and the administration is very supportive of that, and just love the wonderful words that Ms. Pence had on that yesterday. So she is the lead ambassador for the Prevents Initiative, and we're really honored to have Second Lady Ms. Pence with us today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Thomas. It's so exciting for us to be here. I'm just going to give you a very brief history of how I ended up here, because I want to hear, I know you've all kind of condensed and we have so much to share today, and I'm eager to hear all of it. But I found out about art therapy in 2006, working with children with cancer, how successful it was. Children were saying, when can I go back to the hospital? So even as an art teacher, I'd never heard of art therapy. And I started learning that art therapy is not arts and crafts. These are master's and doctorate level trained therapists that use art as their therapy. And when I was First Lady of Indiana, I started learning about how effective art therapy is with our vets who have PTSD. It's amazingly successful. And so I started traveling the country and learning about what we're doing with art therapy around the country and really around the world. And I came to Arizona and I went to Art Awakenings. And I found out that you have 18, then, I don't know now, you had 18 Art Awakenings facilities, that Arizona was kind of ahead of the whole thing as far as knowing how effective art therapy was. And I think it's because the president knew about me being interested in helping our vets who have trauma that they're dealing with, that he asked me to be the lead ambassador of Prevents. And Prevents, you probably all know this, but it's the president's roadmap to end a national tragedy of suicide. And to enable vets, sorry, I left out the EV, President's Roadmap to empower vets and end a national tragedy of suicide. And so since that happened, I've been traveling the country the last really 3 months, and we've been visiting VA medical centers all over the country. And what we're learning is that there is so much new research, new innovative therapies that are happening at our veterans medical centers. And it's been, I mean, it's surprising stuff. If you do a little bit of research on it. It's stunning to me, the things that they're doing. Some programs, we visited one last week, that is a 2-week program. And this vet and his family all said, he's back. For 7 years, he hasn't been able to focus on anything, and he's back. And so we know now, and I didn't know this when I got asked to be the ambassador for Prevents, I didn't know that suicide is preventable. And now I know that it is preventable, and there are ways to be proactive. And what we've learned is, I know a lot of what you do with Be Connected is what we've used in Prevents to kind of help all around the country be a proactive program to help our vets. And now during the COVID-19 pandemic, this is such an opportunity for us right now, because when we look at the risk factors and the protective factors, we all have risk factors, but we all have some of the major risk factors right now. We all feel a sense of isolation. We all are feeling anxiety. And so what better time to start the conversations? What better time to say, you know, talk to me if you're having issues. I'm having issues too. And it's hopefully going to help take away some of the stigma. And I think the fact that you all are being so proactive with suicide prevention is one way to take away the stigma. I like to say it's okay to say you're not okay. It's okay. And we have to especially let our vets know that it's okay. They're dealing with some of these trauma issues because they're defending our freedom. So we owe it to them. And so the fact that you have so many, I think we have 5 groups that we're going to hear from today, is so exciting to me to see how you're all collaborating. Thank you to those of you who traveled to be here. We appreciate that. We're sorry we had to reschedule, but we're so grateful that you were able to travel and be here with us today. And I'm eager to hear everything that you want to share with us. So we're going to actually start with group 1, our Arizona presenters. And Thomas, I think you're going to start and introduce the 3.
Yes. On mask, off mask. All right, so with my esteemed colleagues, Drew Trojanowski and Director Wanda Wright, we're going to give a brief briefing. And I will start off. So this is just a quick snapshot of Be Connected. Be Connected is a grand collaboration between the entities listed here, the Arizona Department of Veteran Services, the VA, Access, Tri-West Healthcare, and then it is supported by a variety of different entities, really all the entities that are here, including and especially the Governor's Office for Youth, Faith, and Families. It evolved from the coalition's work with the Arizona National Guard, where we were able to take deaths by suicide from its highest rate ever in the Arizona National Guard for 3 successive years in 2010 and drop it to 0 for over 36 months. So the reality is, Be Connected is based on something that has truly saved lives, and we are trying to expand it and make it a statewide possibility that we have 0 suicides in the state of Arizona. It can be done. With our call, match, learn marketing, we've made it so simple that even a United States Marine infantryman can do it. We have, between our call line and our in-person Be Connected navigators, we've had over 40,000 encounters, and that grows by 1,500 a month. So we're really reaching into the communities that need it. We have seen an expansion during COVID times from 1% crisis calls to 7% crisis calls. So we're there meeting that particular need. We have 5,000 community helpers in every corner of the state that are trained as resource navigators. So these are folks that have specific training that they can reach out, and we don't want any type of service member or veteran to go anywhere without bumping into one of the open doors that is either our organizations, which are vetted partners, or a resource navigator. And in order to decrease the civilian, military, cultural divide, we have trained over 50,000 individuals in best practice approach to military culture training. So we're coating this entire state with being able to support service members, veterans, and their families. That's what I gotta say. All right. Ms. Wanda?
Hello again. So my piece of this presentation is really about the collective impact. You see all the people in the room, they are part of our collective. And as you can see from our slide, you know, the visible pieces of it, you know, we have events and we do press conferences, speeches, you know, those kinds of things. But it's only sort of surface. What this really is and what the collective impact does is goes well beyond that. And so as you see these people in the room, it's not just about, hey, you know, work with us. It's really about, we have a vetting process, as Thomas mentioned, with our partners that talk about how we care for service members and their families. We have training for them. We do agreements with them that they will abide by the things that need to be, and really also in accordance with the governor's state plan for our ability to collaborate amongst one another. And we're talking federal and state, military, which can sometimes be a little hard to do. Nonprofits, corporations, colleges, and we do all of those things to include data and evaluation sharing. And it's all sort of sealed up and sewn up with our backbone, which is the Coalition for Military Families. And so what I'd like you to take away from this particular piece is that, one, it takes a backbone in a state to make a network as large as ours. We have people in every corner of the state working with us. The second thing is the state government needs to be involved. And it's best if it's part of the Veteran Affairs State Agency. And then having a state plan to help manage the overall logistics and purpose of the organization of that initiative. And so hopefully that can help as you go back and kind of talk about how success looks. And as a collective impact, we have made great impact. Thomas just talked to you a little bit about it, but it's so much deeper than that. We know we're saving lives every single day. Whether we get jobs for veterans, service members, their spouses, sometimes with other dependents, whether it's the honorable burial of our veterans who pass away for whatever reason, it's the whole gamut, and their whole life journey we can support.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Thomas. And to this point about the upstream approach and how all this builds on itself is that one of the challenges in this space is any public health approach is that you have to be able to identify early and intervene early. And so for us, it's if you want to stem the tide of veteran suicide, you're going to have to be able to intervene before they're at crisis mode. Your intervention window is so narrow and so difficult for you to actually have some sort of functional impact that you need to figure out how to get further and further upstream. And so, ultimately, to the point that has been made where this is a full court press across the entire state, it's going to be your smoking, drinking, shooting, fishing, hanging out buddy that's going to notice that something's wrong, and then ultimately how to navigate you to the resources that are important that are going to help. And so ultimately that ends back at the VA or community partners, and that's the key in all of this is that this isn't something that's separate, adjacent to federal activities that are occurring. It's that this is a rising tide raises all ships. So where you've got the VA can only be in so many places, but the community partners really understand where everyone is at and able to route them to the appropriate resources. And so there are a lot of efforts that you'll see across the country that do things in a very narrow niche, whether it's a community, a city, just a town, but it's not quite a full court effort across the entirety of the state, especially something as geographically dispersed as the West, like Arizona. And so this has been what's really successful for this organization, Be Connected, and the effort in the program is being able to find folks early and intervene early.
Thanks, Drew. So I'll wrap this up here and just talk a little bit about, that this is really an exciting time because we've built this structure. We've got relationships with each of the 3 VA hospitals. We've got relationships with the Arizona Housing Coalition and MOA and the Healing of Memories, and I can keep going, the regional office, and all the state agencies that are represented. So with that robustness, then you have the ability to do things like innovate. You have the ability to be turnkey and respond really quickly. The BISN writes us because they got a letter from a DSO member in Northeast Arizona, highly rural, mega rural. And we, the next day, send a combined team, VA and our navigators, up to the area, assess what's going on, do a report, they bring it back to the leadership here, we figure out what to do, we resolve the short-term issues of food or medicine or appointments, then we start to work on the long-term issues of telehealth and transportation where the DAV and the VA cannot cover that particular type of transportation. It's really awesome. So then the whole system gets to work together in a really remarkable way. That's one example of what we can do. We're also doing things, we're able to set up and work with the CDC in order to be able to come up with things like vulnerability indexes. This is a way to assess an entire state's veteran population in and outside of the VA to be able to understand what their vulnerabilities are so that we can start to direct resources towards those. We also are developing a state scorecard, which will help the VA and Congress and others to be able to understand which states are fully prepared, fully robust, to be able to understand how to direct resources to them so that they can do the same type of thing. I could literally go on for hours and days. All of these folks here, Ms. Pence, know that. But I will not.
Do we need to cut them off?
So
I
see
love the
before.
enthusiasm. I mean, seriously, I can feel in the room, you're all nodding, I can tell you all care about our vets. We've got about 4 more groups to go. Group 2, you guys are the Veteran Affairs Directors. So if you want to all give your title, and I think we're going to hear from Michael and Alicia.
Jean, you want to start doing that?
Hi, good morning. I'm Jean Gorga. I'm the director of the Northern Arizona VA in Prescott, Arizona.
Morning, I'm Steve Sample, the Assistant Director of the Southern Arizona VA in Tucson, Arizona.
Hi, Jennifer Gutowski. I'm the director of the Southern Arizona VA based in Tucson.
Hi, I'm Leslie Mockridge. I'm the Acting Associate Director of Patient Care Services at the Phoenix VA. Hi, good morning. I'm Dr. Alicia Smith. I'm the Medical Center Director at the Phoenix VA.
I'm Dr. Winkel, I'm the President of
And I'm Michael Fisher. Good morning. I'm the Regional Director for the VHA facilities in Arizona, New Mexico, and Southern California. And I can't tell you how honored I am to be here and talk about this coalition. And Wanda, Thomas, Mr. Turjanowski, I thank you as well. I particularly value your comments about mental health and VA and what you've seen in our facilities, because I do believe that our mental health professionals are very committed to ending suicide, but just committed to the overall well-being of our patients. So thank you. So we were talking last night at dinner, sort of being thoughtful about how much we value this collaboration, but really why, at least in my standpoint, I've been with VA for 27 years, and why that this is the most vibrant, successful collaboration that I've seen in my career. And so I just wanted to note a couple things from my perspective. One is just the total focus on the client that this collaboration has. You know, even in the best relationships, there's kind of always this us versus them, I think. And in this Be Connected, it's always we. And we are all committed to the same thing and serving the same client and that well-being. And that to me is a huge thing. The second thing is really their thoughtfulness in the expansion beyond crisis management. There are so many veteran stories, and a lot of it is intervening at the crisis, but really focusing on those things that Thomas talked about that causes those factors that may be upstream, and to try and really intervene there at that stage. And then they have some sort of secret sauce about training people and selecting people. And
And that I'd like to have, because as you know, we're only as good as the people that we employ, and the people who do this work are the most committed, selfless individuals that I've seen. So we are really trying very hard in VHA to become a highly reliable organization. And I don't know if you heard anything about that in your visits, but these collaborations with partnerships and what we've got here is a huge key to being successful in that journey. And before you leave, if you'll accept our HRO coin from our network, I'd love for you to have it. But all the credit really goes to these folks on the left. They do the heavy lifting every day, and they're, as a group, very grateful too for this collaboration. So thank you.
So Ms. Pence, it's an honor. I just will add on to Mr. Fisher's comments. One of the components that I want to speak about, and that is that relationship with our peer support specialists, who are veterans serving veterans, and our suicide prevention coordinators, and that integration with Be Connected. And I think as we think about reach and really changing the conversation around suicide, and for the community, families and friends to recognize when someone is not okay, and also when someone is not okay, to your point, to be able to and feel confident or okay with reaching out to say I'm not okay. And our peer support specialists and suicide prevention coordinators really in tandem with the team and Be Connected. Look for those upstream, as you've heard about, those upstream opportunities prior to someone reaching a point of perhaps crisis and entertaining thoughts of self-harm. And some of the things that they do or have done have been really, really remarkable. You think about the COVID-19 pandemic and the stressors of the digital divide and school supplies and those types of things. Really, that partnership with Be Connected, and again, upstream prior to an absolute crisis, intervening and supporting veterans. And I'll leave with this example or this story of a veteran, happens to be a female veteran, who was experiencing homelessness, unemployment, and actually had relinquished custody of her children. And through the support and connection with Be Connected, connected with our benefits team at VBA, was able to get some additional resources, and then partnered with the other members of the team and navigators to obtain housing, employment, and regain custody of her children. And so if you think about, that's really what upstream intervention is all about. And we are just, within VHA and particularly within our medical centers, incredibly proud to be a part of this statewide coalition to end suicide.
That's a story we hear everywhere, is that it's not just that person, it's all the people in their life. And so all the lives that were changed there just by helping her. That's fantastic. And then group 3 is our state agency representatives. And then I think we're going to hear from Maria, but if you all could please introduce yourselves.
I'm Maria.
I'm Maria.
I'm the director of the Governor's Office of My name is Kelly Williams. I'm the state suicide prevention specialist. It's nice to meet you.
And I'm thrilled to be here. Ms. Pence, this is one of my favorite things to talk about this program. It never gets old to be able to brag about the amazing work that has happened here in Arizona and to be nationally recognized. It just gets warranted. And I'm very grateful for the opportunity. At the Governor's Office of Youth, Faith, and Family, we focus primarily on prevention across a variety of topics, including human trafficking, juvenile justice, substance abuse, sexual and domestic violence, aging issues, child well-being. And so when I first met with Thomas and he's telling me about Be Connected, it's trauma-informed, it's culturally aware and relevant, it's a human-to-human approach to help prevent suicide. But the more he's talking, I'm like, well, you're preventing suicide, but you're addressing every single issue that we're trying to prevent. You're intervening, you're finding treatment, you're looking at the whole family, not just the individual. We know nobody exists in a vacuum. And so when you say suicide prevention, that's critical and important because suicide is a very tragic and unfortunately significant public health crisis right now, especially in some populations like our veterans. But you're it's not just suicide prevention. It's access to services that individuals and their families need right now. So it's such a privilege to be able to be a part of this partnership, to be able to invest and continue to grow this program together, to have it be this collective, to have it be something that everybody feels it's like a family, and it's fitting with the Coalition for Military Families. I feel a part of the family, and so it's again, I call Thomas all the time and help me build this in child welfare, help me build this in other sectors, because I think that one of the beautiful things about it is that it's service member veterans helping other veterans, and that firsthand knowledge, that connection that you have, just as humans. It's not a hotline, it's humans helping other humans, and so we're really gonna lean on you more, Thomas, to see how we can not just continue to grow the success of Be Connected, but how we can continue to implement this model, the philosophy, the training, so that we can continue to help other individuals and families across our state. So thank you, and thank you for inviting me today.
That's great. And you know, so many times we have these round tables, and then when I leave, we're like, okay, great, all these people now know each other. It's not that way. Here, you all know each other, you're already working together, so it's really so inspiring to me, because we do get to tell your story when we go other places. And now, yes.
I'm Dan Dirksen, I'm the other
yeah, I
part
see
of
your
this
name
group.
here, but I didn't hear from you, yeah.
In Arizona, the state office of rural health, often in other states, is housed in state agencies. In Arizona, because Andy Nichols back in the day, it's housed in the Center for Rural Health that he founded. We also house the Arizona Area Health Education Center program and other programs that help get the word out to our rural areas. We work really closely with the state's federally qualified health centers and the rural and critical access hospitals in the state. So this program has been very important to get out to those areas that might not otherwise hear about it. If they don't have a VA facility nearby, they often go to these community health centers and critical access hospitals for their care. So we're delighted to be working with the governor's office in the state of Arizona on these issues and make sure that when a veteran needs care, that they have that available. So we're happy to be part of this partnership as well. Thank you.
That's fantastic. It's just really great. Each person who speaks, it's more exciting to us. And then I think now group 4 is the community leaders. And we're going to hear, I think, from Dave and Kellyanne, but if you all please would introduce yourselves so that we know who you are, what your title is.
I'll start. I'm Pete Clover. I'm from the northern part of the state, and I guess I wear a lot of hats, but I'll just say, along with Thomas, I'm one of the chairs for the Northern Arizona Be Connected Community Network, and I'm honored to be here.
Shane Gruen, Chief Program Officer for the Arizona Housing Coalition and the Arizona Veterans Stand Alliance. I too appreciate being here. Thank you so much.
Mike Wold, co-chair of the Faith-Based Initiative of the coalition. I'm also the Arizona coordinator for the Healing Memories workshops, healing workshops for veterans.
Good morning. My name is Nikki Bartram. I'm the Be Connected Program Administrator for the Arizona Coalition of Military Families.
Good morning. I'm Kellyanne Wild, the Assistant Director of Programs for the Arizona Coalition for Military Families.
Good morning. Thank you for being here. My name is Cody Nichols. I'm Assistant Dean of Students for Military and Veteran Engagement at the University of Arizona.
Dave McIntyre, Person, CO, and Tri-West Health Alliance.
Good morning, everyone.
You drew the short straw, Kelly.
Oh no, this is the good straw. I'm excited. Thank you. It really is truly great to see everyone's, I'll say, smiling eyes this morning. It's an honor to be here. Really, the story that I want to talk about too, that talks about the importance of the community, is every service member, veteran, and their family member has very specific needs, and that's really where the community comes into play. And I'll tell you a story. There was one time that we had an older veteran call in. He had just left the VA. He needed to have a surgery at the VA, and luckily his doctor at the VA said, hey, if you need anything else, call this Be Connected line. The veteran called the support line, let us know, hey, I really need this surgery, but I have a diabetic cat that I don't want to leave, and he was the only one that could take care of it. He couldn't find anybody to be able to facilitate those shots, so he said, I have to be honest.
I've been there, I get it.
And he said, I'm not going to leave my cat, I won't do this surgery, can you help me? So when we got that call from the support line, we gave a call to Mike Wold, Pete, all of our other community partners to be able to say, do we have any volunteers that know how to do this? Everybody sprung into action, started looking at what can we do? Does anybody feel comfortable doing this? Can we find a volunteer? We actually were able to find a support group that is a diabetic cat support group. Through that support group, we were able to find somebody that would watch this cat so that this veteran could go to the VA for his surgery. Now that's an exemplary just point of everybody's gonna have something different. If this veteran wasn't able to find somebody to watch his cat, he wasn't going to do the surgery. That's that upstream approach. We don't know what would have happened if he wasn't able to get that surgery. I'll say after he did that surgery, then we looked at, he's in this Arizona ecosystem for care. What else does he need? We ran through those 9 social determinants of health. Have you worked with a veteran benefits counselor to see if you have any service connection that you need to facilitate? Do you have a job? We were able to ask all those things. So we really look at it with that no wrong door, no wrong person approach. Once they come to us for one thing, it can be a concern about a diabetic cat. We're gonna make sure that they get help with whatever they need. So it really truly is just that fact of everything's gonna be different for each person that we're trying to help. And when you have the community involved, we kind of all at this table in this room and throughout this entire state are able to come together and find that specific need.
That's a great story.
Thank you.
Ma'am, thanks for your leadership personally and for your commitment to this topic. You said it well when you said it can be solved. As Thomas pointed out, the early parts of this program led to 0 suicide among the Guard members in the state for about 2 years running. Our privilege is to support the VA by making sure that community doctors and therapists and the like are in the network that's built to support the veterans that need to go into the community. We did that for a while across the entire country. We're now doing it in the West region, which is our native area. And when we serve the whole country, it was pretty apparent that we have something unique here. And the connectedness of the individuals that you see in this room, and the care and the feeding of what needs to be done to tie people together to make it work is very unique. But it's replicable, and it's the very component parts that made this successful that makes it replicable. Our part is making sure that providers are available to the VA and to veterans when the care needs to be done in the community. And we're very grateful for the providers that are willing to stand up and serve, and it's most of them. And then trying to make sure that we pick the right provider for the circumstance is our collective objective to make this successful as to our portion of it. Thank you again for what you're doing. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And now I think we get to hear Mike from some of our veterans who can really tell us how the story, how this all has affected them personally. And I think that, you know, the veterans, helping veterans, the stories that veterans can share, I think are the most powerful, because I can say something to a veteran, but when another veteran says, no, I was walking in your shoes and now this is where I am, it's so much more powerful and meaningful. So, Mike, I think you were going to introduce our veterans. Is that right?
Thank you again for this opportunity. I'm a U.S. Navy veteran, and I'm a proud resource navigator. I've been trained for the last 5 years for that. I wanted to talk about the value of the connection from two perspectives. One is Thomas Winkel here, the co-chair of the faith-based initiative. The faith-based initiative. That's an initiative to encourage faith communities to serve or improve the services to their veterans. That is the whole concept of body, mind, and spirit. The faith-based communities are critical for that, especially in areas of moral injury. wounds that service members get from carrying out tasks and missions that violate their conscience. So so the reason that Be Connected is important. Be Connected provides the training so that we can get a person trained at each of the faith communities. So when a mother or a wife or a veteran comes to the pastor, there's somebody there that's trained and can help. Also, the faith-based communities can be part of a network and become part of the database for Be Connected and be connected that way. Second role as a coordinator for Healing Memories workshops. These are online and in-person workshops that provide a safe space for veterans to tell their stories to other veterans and to share the grief and pain and that sort of thing. Where that's important is, one, we're part of the database for the Be Connected program, so that veterans can connect to us through that program and through the coalition. I wanted to share two quick stories. One is pre-Be Connected. This is the story of a U.S. Army veteran on his long journey to healing, a journey that no doubt could have been cut shorter had Be Connected existed. He served in the Secret Recon Task Force during Operation Desert Storm. His unit was overrun by Iraqi Republican Guard, and although he survived, he lost a number of his battle buddies in the attack. 3 days later, he was clearing an Iraqi bunker, was blown up. He flatlined, and although he has no memory of what happened next, he was later brought back to life by a medical team. Came back from the war a decorated hero, but severely wounded physically, psychologically, and spiritually. For 20 years, he dealt with suicidal thoughts and attempts, joblessness, alcoholism, divorce, depression, sleeplessness, painful physical injuries, a compromised immune system, and estrangement from his spirituality due to the guilt and shame he felt. Help in all these areas could have been provided by the Be Connected program. These are areas that we all, the people at this table, can help with. After 20 years of this pain, he met a very strong lady whom he loved deeply and told him that if he did not resolve the issues, she would leave him. He did not want to lose her, so he entered the 12-step program for alcoholism, received treatment for his trauma, developed a spiritual life. The capstone experiences when he attended one of our Healing and Memories workshops that helped him get rid of the guilt that he'd suffered for the last 20 years. Find a step in healing, and I see this with a lot of veterans, is when they decide that they're going to give back. So he started giving back. He dedicated his life to helping veterans. And he uses the Be Connected program. Connected, he's part of it. He gives training for first responders as part of that program too. He's become one of the facilitators in Healing and Memories. He's on call day and night to help veterans dealing with psychological and spiritual wounds. He's an active volunteer in many organizations, those dealing with suicide, veteran suicide, mental health, spiritual health, homelessness, imprisonment, and alcoholism. He also, so at any rate, I'd like to, it's my honor to introduce that veteran, my good friend, David Kimball. David?
This thing on? Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here today with everybody, and I am very proud to be here with you. Like Mike Walt said, 20 years ago I was killed in Iraq and came back with a lot of anger and mistrust. You name it, I was the ugliest, meanest guy on the planet, I used to think. My father was that guy, his father, all the way back to the Revolutionary War. So PTSD and all that's in my blood, I feel like. Combat, it's in my blood. So I figure once I found healing, and it was not easy, but if we can make it through basic training, we can make it through this next phase, is what I like to tell veterans. You've got it inside you. Surrender for the first time, put those dukes down, put those hands down, which I wouldn't do to save my own life, but I finally did because I love my wife. So I've been married almost 20 years now. And without her and Caleb, my service dog, which goes everywhere with me, I wouldn't be here. And without Be Connected, without people in this room, I know a lot of you here, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you, the team that surrounded me when I needed you the most. So thank you.
I just want to say though, thank you for taking it one step further, giving back. I mean, that's really what it's all about. You're sharing your experience. So, and thank you for being vulnerable with all of us today.
I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Want more of it,
Good.
right?
That's great.
You can see why David's my go-to guy for veterans. Also, another story, a modern story. This is a story post Be Connected, and it's my honor to introduce my friend Ignacio Benavente, who will tell his story. Ignacio.
Thank you for having me here. So in the summer of 2017, I was living in LA. I had a good paying job at a local pharmacy chain, a newly remodeled house, beautiful wife and beautiful son. Then the news came that she wanted a divorce, and that's when everything started unraveling. I looked for assistance with the local VA and churches, but could not connect. I ended up couch surfing and even sleeping in an air mattress in someone's office for a while. Those last weeks leading to the end of the year were unbearable. Then an opportunity arose to move to Arizona. So I looked at jobs doing the same thing I was doing in Los Angeles and got an offer to start at a pharmacy in February 2018. I rented a room, and during this time I started to reconnect with my long-lost high school sweetheart who moved to Arizona from Puerto Rico. Then the job at the pharmacy fell through. So I had to look for a job And after applying to hundreds of jobs, the first opportunity that I got was a sales job at a car dealership. I was miserable the whole time that I worked there, so I started looking and applying for jobs again. I would get maybe one call or interview every 25 to 30 applications until I finally got a job at the Home Depot. At the same time, my wife now, and I got married. It was barely a month into my new job when my housing situation fell through, so I found myself with a new wife, our 2 dogs, living out of our cars, going to the gym in the mornings and afternoons, to take showers, asking the police at night when they would come and knock in the car window to let us spend the night at the parking lot. One of my coworkers, she was a veteran service officer at the local Disabled American Veterans Post. And she put me in contact with the Mesa Veterans Center, Be Connected Partner Organization. Among all the resources that they offer, the one that was the most important for my situation and barriers in my life was the orientation for Arizona's workforce system. The people running this class, Randy, Dan, and Suzanne, were trained to be open doors in the community and to connect with veterans and their families through resources. They did everything and more to make sure that we were okay. We were able to find an apartment and get help to cover our moving expenses. Randy would regularly check up on me. And even one day he offered me a job working at the Arizona Coalition for Military Families. Being able to be part of an organization that focuses on the wellness of our service members, veterans, and families, it's honestly more rewarding than any paycheck. Randy showed me that there are people who care and don't give up. This lit my passion again for helping anyone in need. And my goal as part of the Arizona Coalition for Military Families and Be Connected is to ensure that every service member, veteran, and family member in Arizona has an open door like I did, so they can get the right resources at the right time. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your story and for being willing to be vulnerable and tell your story of beauty from ashes, which really, sometimes we go through those trials in life, and it means now you can give back to others, and you're giving back today, so, and in your job. That's just an amazing story. I think in closing, I just want to say thank you to all of you for being here. I think we're going to do a couple of photos up here with each group. I would like to give you all a coin, a Second Lady coin. because I know you're working with veterans and you probably all collect coins. This is much more valuable than the vice president's coin. It's much prettier. I think I just want to applaud you all for what you're doing in Arizona, because I know that we have a lot of vets who retire in Arizona. They need these services. And it's sometimes that transition that is the hardest time for them. And so to know that you have everybody working together is just so exciting, because it's really a place where you're all gonna have a job for a long time, because you have a lot of vets who are retiring in Arizona, and you have a lot of military bases. My son serves in Arizona, in the Marine Corps, 75. And so I know that this is needed here, and it's being delivered to our vets and our service members who deserve it. They deserve for us to come alongside. So thank you for sharing with us today. We're collaborating everything and taking it back. I know, Thomas, you've been at the White House sharing a lot and helping us get Prevent started, so thank you for that. And we will continue to tell these beautiful stories. So thank you so much, everybody. I think Natalie's going to tell us what to do for pictures.